shooting fights. There's a traffic jam in Harlem that's backed up to Jackson Heights. There's a scout troop toward a child, cruise ships do, and I go wild. Car 54, where are you?
I should have gone to the police weeks ago. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, a man of your age.
What does she want from me?
Hello, Miss Eisenberg. Mr. Eisenberg.
What happened? Your delicatessen got held up again?
It should only be as simple as that. Take me to the captain.
This way.
Come in.
Captain, Mr. Eisenberg and his daughter want to see you.
I want to file charges.
Don't listen to her.
You didn't listen to me, so that's why I'm putting it in the hands of the police.
Was anything wrong?
Wrong. Look at him. My father, Meyer Eisenberg, 72 years old, a man who should know better, and what happens? He's in the clutches of a crooked marriage broker.
You're listening to her.
Well, listen. Without telling me a word, he goes up to this phony matrimonial agency. And the woman who runs it has already found him a bride.
Now, wait a minute. Just because a marriage broker found a wife for your father...
A wife? Go ahead, Papa. Tell him who you're marrying.
It's really not definite yet.
Tell him.
We haven't straightened out all the details.
Tell him. Tell the captain who you're marrying.
Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford?
Congratulations, Mr. Eisenberg.
Hey!
I didn't even know they were going together.
Miss Eisenberg, are you sure this is the Joan Crawford, the movie star?
Who else would Meyer Eisenberg, 72 years old, owner of a delicatessen in the Bronx, marry but the real Joan Crawford, of course? I want that phony matchmaker put in jail.
Miss Eisenberg, are you sure this isn't a gag?
Some gag. He spent all morning buying sports shirts and alligator shoes.
You see, we're going to live 6 months in Beverly Hills, and the other 6 months in back of my store.
Well, here's craziness, my father and Joan Crawford. Here is the name and address of that phony matchmaker.
Wedding Bells Matrimonial Agency, Tremont Avenue.
And if she isn't closed up in 24 hours, I'm going to the commissioner. Come on, we're going home.
I'll show you the way out, Mr. Eisenberg. And when you and Joan come back from your honeymoon, you're invited to my house for dinner.
No question about it. He should be put away.
But, Captain, Mr. Eisenberg is only...
Who's talking about Mr. Eisenberg? I mean Tootie.
He just gets carried away.
But never far enough. Here, check on this.
Wedding Bells Matrimonial Agency. We'll rush right over and see what's going on.
Don't rush.
Captain Block.
No, what is it, Mrs. Harrigan?
Well, I just wanted to give you time to get another cleaning woman.
Well, are you leaving?
Yes, I'm going to California.
California?
Yes, Captain. Well, I'm getting married.
Well, that's wonderful, Mrs. Harrigan. And who's the lucky man?
Charles Boyer.
Charles Boyer? Who arranged this wonderful match?
Why, the Wedding Bells Matrimonial Agency.
Get over there right away and stop that woman.
Yes, sir.
Muldoon, you do all the talking and handling of this case, or Tootie will wind up with Elizabeth Taylor. And you know she won't get along with the other wives in the precinct.
Oh, Gunther, Francis.
It's Mrs. Bronson.
Oh, no.
Come in. Come in.
Mrs. Bronson, you're the Wedding Bells Matrimonial Agency?
Who else? Make yourselves at home, boys. I've got some tea on the hot plate.
Wait, Mrs. Bronson, we're not here socially. We're here on business.
Good, so let's get to work. You stop me when somebody strikes your fancy, eh? Barbara Stanwyck, Lana Turner, Natalie Wood.
Stop, Mrs. Bronson. I didn't come here looking for a wife. I came here on police business. There's been a serious complaint lodged against you.
A complaint?
That's right, in regard to Mr. Eisenberg.
Mr. Eisenberg is complaining? When I got him Joan Crawford, he cried like a baby. He kissed my hand.
It's not Mr. Eisenberg who complained, it's his daughter.
Oh, that Thelma with the big mouth. If it wasn't for for that big mouth of hers, I could have gotten her Gregory Peck. Now, let me see. Who have I got for you?
Mrs. Bronson, we like you. You're an intelligent woman. But you're going to get in big trouble if you keep up this ridiculous business of promising people like Mr. Eisenberg glamorous movie stars like Joan Crawford.
What's ridiculous? They were made for each other.
Mrs. Bronson, you just can't match a man like Mr. Eisenberg and Joan Crawford willy-nilly.
What willy-nilly? I worked on that match like a dog. Gunther, be a good boy and get me the Meyer Eisenberg Joan Crawford folder. It's in the files marked almost definite.
Right.
Almost definite.
Now, where were we? Oh, yes, a girl for you. Doris Day. No, also too young. Susan Haywood. A little bit too emotional.
Don't bother.
Oh, if you had only been here yesterday. I had Kim Novak available. But Mr. Feigenbaum, the Iceman, grabbed her.
Mrs. Bronson, you just can't use movie stars' names like that. Joan Crawford doesn't even know Mr. Eisenberg exists.
Who doesn't? I'm in constant communication.
Here you are, Mrs. Bronson.
Yeah, now look, just look here. All letters from Joan Crawford.
From Joan Crawford?
Uh-huh. Listen to this, dear Mrs. Bronson. In answer to your letter of the 22nd, which included a picture of Mr. Eisenberg standing in front of his delicatessen, I wish to thank you for your kind concern. But I am not planning either marriage or a trip to the Bronx in the near future. Signed, Joan Crawford. P.S. Under separate cover, I am returning the salami. What does it prove? She's playing hard to get. Now listen to this, dear Mrs. Bronson. In answer to your letters of the 2nd, 5th, 9th, 17th, and 24th, I am sure, as you say, Mr. Eisenberg is one of the most eligible bachelors in the Bronx. And I am sure, as you put it, I am missing a chance from a lifetime, and so forth and so forth. Here it became serious. From her lawyer. Dear Mrs. Bronson, Miss Crawford informs us that your persistent letters and accompanying delicatessen has not only caused her a great deal of annoyance, but has resulted in her mailbox being condemned by the health department. If you continue in this vein, we will have to take legal action. So you see.
See what?
Well, show me once in any one of these letters where she gives a definite no.
I give up.
Don't give up so soon. We'll find somebody for you. Barbara Stanwyck. Tuesday Wells.
Mrs. Bronson.
Oh, here she is. I should have thought of it in the first place the minute I looked at you. Anita Ekberg.
Oh, Anita Ekberg.
Anita Ekberg.
This is the perfect match. She is tall and beautiful, just like you.
Oh, I can't wait to see you and Anita Ekberg dancing together at the next policeman's ball.
You just give the word, and I'll send off a letter.
Forget about it.
Francis, don't be a fool. Grab her now while she's available. Don't lose her like you lost Kim Novak to Mr. Feigenbaum.
You'll regret it.
Quiet. Mrs. Bronson, you're an intelligent woman. Can't you see the complete ridiculousness of this? Anita Ekberg marrying me, a cop in the Bronx?
What? Didn't Debbie Reynolds marry a man that sells shoes?
And Princess Margaret married a photographer.
Yeah, look at Anne Blythe. She married a dentist.
Will you two come to your senses, me and Anita Ekberg? We live in two different worlds.
Francis, it's marriages like that are the happiest.
How happy can it be? I'm stuck here in the Bronx and she's making pictures in Rome, on the Riviera, who knows where. You call that a marriage?
You can quit the force. She'll make you her manager.
And be known as Mr. Anita Ekberg? Thank you very much.
But, Francis, if the two of you love each other...
What love with me here in the Bronx and she dancing in fountains in Rome all night? I wouldn't give the marriage 6 months.
All right, so she danced in a fountain. But with a nice, steady young man like you, with a civil service job, she'll settle down.
Ha! That's what they told Eddie Fisher when he married Elizabeth Taylor. Don't do me any favors, Mrs. Bronson, with your Anita Ekbergs. At least with someone like Kim Novak, I'd know where she was.
I promised Mr. Feigenbaum, the Iceman, Kim Novak.
Kim Novak, who has an apartment in New York, just a subway ride from the Bronx. Her you give to Mr. Feigenbaum?
Yes.
And you stick me with a globetrotter? Thanks for nothing.
Francis, I gave Feigenbaum my word.
All right, if your word to Mr. Feigenbaum, an 80-year-old Iceman, means more to you than my friendship,
Well, what can I do?
give Feigenbaum Anita Ekberg.
I tried. You don't want her?
Of course he doesn't want her. You were waiting for a sucker like me to show up. It's all right if Francis Muldoon marries Anita Ekberg and goes chasing all over the world after her, isn't it? Did you hear that, Captain? She's trying to marry me off to Anita Ekberg while Feigenbaum, the Iceman, is getting Kim Novak. Captain, talk to her. Explain to her that Kim Novak and me would be the perfect... Kim Novak and me would be the perfect?
I sent 2 cops to handle one little woman, and what happens? One of you is inviting Joan Crawford over to his house for dinner. The other one is on the verge of a duel with a nice man over Kim Novak. Quiet! Wait outside.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mrs. Bronson. You know why I'm here. This is it. I don't know what your game is, but it's over. Finished. Done.
Bright and bright, you muzzle talk.
Are you listening to me?
Talk, I'm listening.
You're not making my precinct the laughing stock of New York. I'm putting my foot down. You've got 24 hours.
Who needs 24 hours? I'll get you somebody in a minute. I found her.
You can stop right now with your ridiculous matchmaking. It so happens I already have a wife.
Oh, the poor girl.
Poor girl.
Oh, I'm not talking about your wife, the lucky woman. I'm talking about poor Ava Gardner.
Ava Gardner?
What a husband you would make for her.
Me and Ava Gardner?
You're just the man she always dreamed about. Strong, forceful, a man who makes decisions. She says it right here in black and white in Sidney Skolsky's column. Wait, I'll give you some quotes.
Forget about it. Mrs. Bronson, you're not dealing with one of your old clients in his second childhood. You're dealing with Captain Paul Block, a man with 2 feet on the ground.
You took the words right out of Ava's mouth. Listen to what she said. I want a husband with 2 feet on the ground. A man who is not only a husband, but a pal. A pal who would take me on fishing trips with him. If I could find a man like that anywhere.
Is with him.
His wife? Why, is there something private?
It started out to be private, but for the last half hour, it's been public.
Don't you raise your voice to me, Paul Block.
All I said was, why don't you go fishing with me once in a while? Be a pal.
I'm not a pal. I'm your wife. If you want a pal, buy a dog.
At least I know one woman who would appreciate me.
Like who?
Like Ava Gardner, that's who!
You and Ava Gardner?
Come on and laugh. You'll laugh me right into her arms.
You're out of your mind.
You come in. I don't have to take that, Claire. Not when I know that one letter from Mrs. Bronson could bring Ava Gardner and me together. Explain to her, Inspector. Tell her how girls like Ava Gardner dream of marrying men like me. Tell her that Ava Gardner and me.
Ava Gardner and me. Good work, Captain.
Inspector.
Quiet! Get me the Frauds and Rackets Division.
Claire, I got carried away.
Hello, Frauds and Rackets. Inspector Hollander speaking.
Yeah? Uh-huh. What? Joan Crawford and a delicatessen owner? Maggots, get on the extension. This is too much. Go ahead, Inspector. Uh-huh. Charles Boyer and a cleaning woman? Yes, Inspector. I got her address. We'll take care of it. Yes, sir. I don't believe it.
I've heard of phony operations, but this is too much.
Got something for me, Chief? I'm free.
This isn't for you, Callahan. I want you ready in case something really rough turns up.
Right.
You take this, Ed. Close her up.
The Bronx, huh?
I charge you with fraud, misrepresentation. You know what to do.
I'll pick the court orders up on the way.
Right.
Oh, come in. Come in. Bronx Home for the Aged. Would you connect me with Mrs. McGillicuddy, please? I'll be right with you. Hello, Mrs. McGillicuddy. We got an answer from Adelaide Stevenson. It wasn't exactly a letter. It was a pamphlet on world peace. But it shows that he's interested. Yes, darling, yes, I'll keep you posted. Goodbye. So, now what can I do for you?
Magotson. Bunko Squad.
Oh, a lieutenant. Such a young man.